Welcome to O'Connell Center, Gainesville, Florida, where the Florida Gators are hosting Florida State Seminoles. And the Gators drawing first blood with an early 2-0 lead. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore. Florida State comes in at 5-1, as do the Gators.
But right now you can see Florida really applying pressure, believing that the Florida State contingent can't really handle against that pressure. They want to speed the game, increase the possessions, and force Florida State to really play beyond their capability.
Florida State with an early signature win over VCU. Florida started the season in the top 10. They're top 15 now after a loss to Wisconsin. They've been suffering losses in terms of injuries and suspensions, trying to put it together here at home. The corner jumper rimmed in and out and rebounded by Will Yagetz.
Last time these two teams met, Mike, this was an absolute slaughter. Florida winning 72-47. And the score doesn't indicate how far away Florida State was from Florida in that game. In fact, they didn't score their 20th point until 12:54 in the second half.
Florida has dominated the series lately, won 4 in a row, 7 of 8. And Florida riding a 19-game home winning streak coming in. Nice feed down low, and a banker goes left-handed from Boris Bojanovski, the sophomore from the Slovak Republic.
But again, in order to break that bit of a drought, it took the senior, Carl White, penetrate, get into the teeth of the Florida defense, and find someone.
This is Frazier for 3, and he knocks it down. Michael Frazier, the second, a sophomore from Tampa, shoots almost 52% from three-point range, and a battle on the boards, and a whistle blows. Study and contrast here in these two teams. A young team for Leonard Hamilton. 3 sophomores start, 2 seniors. Carl White averaging 14 points, 7.5 rebounds. He's a major factor for the Seminoles. And for Billy Donovan, 4 seniors and 1 sophomore. Michael Frazier, the second, who just made that 3, the only sophomore in the starting lineup. 10 years as the Florida head coach. 455 and 187.
Substitution for Florida State, number 50, Michael Ocho. And for Florida, number 10,
and Leonard Hamilton, who 12 seasons at Florida State, has really established the Seminoles as a factor in the ACC. 2 years ago, won their first ACC title. He's won 60% of his games.
When you look at Florida State over the last 8 years, they're the 3rd winningest program behind Duke, Carolina. And the last 5 seasons, they have 52 ACC wins, 179 wins during that period. And when we talk about Billy Donovan, I don't think you'll ever see replicated what he was able to do with his 2006 and 2007 teams, which win back-to-back national championships.
Donovan, in his first decade here, won 261 games. That's the best ever decade of Florida basketball. And a foul whistle on a reach-in. Jeff Clark, the official, made the call.
Well, an important key for the Seminoles is the fact that they have to rebound. This is a team that turns the ball over about 17 times a game. And if you're going to turn it over that much, you've got to find other ways to increase the possession. And that means rebound, no second chance opportunities for your opponent.
Down low, and it's mishandled. It's Devin Booker. Hands to Carl White, and they work the perimeter. Robert Gilchrist out there as well. Gilchrist will try for 3. Hard off the glass. And on the offensive glass, Florida State will get an opportunity. Michael Ojo.
Tell you what, Michael Ojo, the sophomore, last year, I mean, he was about as raw as anyone could be in playing the game of basketball. You look at that body and you think, boy, if he just learns anything about this game, he'll be a force. And certainly all summer, this fall, he worked hard. You know, his intelligence has always been there, his IQ from basketball.
There's a problem with the shot clock above the basket that Florida State's shooting at. So the officials are looking for somebody to straighten that out. The shot clock on Florida's basket is fine, but obviously you need to see that. Now it's being reset. We're just underway as Florida State will go to the free throw line, and that's something that you don't talk about that much in college basketball these days, Len. Teams getting to the free throw line often and scoring it well from there as we get to our one-on-one.
Well, again, in this period of freedom of movement, you know, you expect to see teams really try and force the issue. And in this game, whichever team does the best job of playing good D without fouling the other will have the edge. Both teams rely on free throws as a significant percentage of their points. And with the freedom of movement emphasis, getting to the line could be low-hanging fruit, but necessary for sustenance and winning.
Having said that, Ojo goes to the line. This is first free throw so far this season.
I want to get back to Michael Ojo again. The hard work that he put in, and obviously building on, you know, the obviously academic intelligence and building his basketball intelligence has really paid dividends for Florida State. Now, he's not exactly setting the world on fire and scoring points, but they're still able to play above the rim with him. He can get them extra opportunities, offensive rebounding, and he's become a pretty good defender in anticipating what's going on as the man in the middle.
2 for 2 for Ojo, and the Noles have a 6-5 lead. Florida goes with the basketball. The ball nearly deflected out of bounds. It'll be Gator basketball. Casey Prather into inbound at the senior from Jackson, Tennessee. Drive inside and a traveling violation called.
I'll tell you, Dorian Finney-Smith thought he had a clear path, and all of a sudden Ojo's right there and forced to travel. And again, really don't have to do anything affirmative, just be there if you're Michael Ojo, and you help your team tremendously. Look at this.
Offensive foul is called.
Wasn't really sure what the officials were going to call here. Looked like a bit of a lean, but official right on the money made the call. And it's very difficult nowadays with the new rule that it's not having to establish position before your opponent leaves the ground, the offensive player leaves the ground. You've got to establish position before he begins his upward movement.
Prather scores, and the Gators have the lead, 7-6. They go to full court pressure.
You know, VCU pressed Florida State and got 25 turnovers out of them. But Florida State shooting hot, rebounding the ball well, 50 rebounds, ultimately prevailed.
Aaron Thomas for 2. He's averaging 10.5 a ball game, and Noles have the lead back.
Yeah, rarely will you see a team win a game turning the ball over 25 times.
Nice feed down low, but a shot blocked, a rejection. Oh, Carl White got to it. We take a break, grab some more leftovers, another piece of pie perhaps. We send it to our studio for an update. Zubin Maheti.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Back at Feast Week in Gainesville, Florida. Florida State 8-7 over the 15th ranked Gators of Florida. Mike Crispino along with Glenn Elmore, and this Florida team to start the season, Len, they've been undermanned, injuries, but also some team violations creating suspensions.
Yeah, violation of unspecified team rules. A number of guys have been violating those rules, and Billy Donovan certainly has been making them pay. You take a look at the lineup of guys who have done wrong and had to really pay for it. Scotty Wilbekin back, suspended 5 games, came back just in time because of the injury to starting freshman point guard Casey Hill. And that was a pretty serious upper ankle sprain, as they call it. And he'll practice with the team today, but didn't look as though he was ready to get it done.
He's a freshman, missed the last 2 games. They're also without Devin Walker. he's very questionable for tonight's game with a foot problem, a sprained foot, kind of day to day. So Billy Donovan's having to rely on the rest of the roster. Doesn't have a full deck of cards here against Florida State. Seminoles with a 1-point lead. On the run, Wilbekin cut off, dumps down low. Young goes left-handed, no good. And it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be Florida State basketball.
That's a good move by Patrick Young. He just faded away instead of taking himself towards the basket. But as I mentioned, as teams and players adjust to the new freedom of movement rules, any big man down low, if you make an affirmative move to the basket, and I mean a move to the basket, more times than not, you're going to get an opportunity to go to the free throw line.
Robert Gilchrist, number 14, checks in for Florida State. Three rimmed in and out. Ian Miller, who's instant offense off of Leonard Hamilton's bench. Rolling to the rim and missing a jam was Dorian Finney-Smith. And the Gators get it back. Inside move and the floater off the mark. The offensive glass controlled by the Gators, and they'll have another shot clock.
Yeah, nice tightrope walk by Scotty Wilbekin to save that.
Wilbekin playing just his second game of the season after serving a 5-game team suspension. And the Seminoles will have it 6 minutes in. Florida State with a 1-point lead.
An intense battle in the trenches, particularly on this side of the floor, with Florida really going to the boards hard offensively. Florida State trying to keep them away.
The walk-on Jacob Kurtz has come on for Florida, wears number 30. They call him Jake the Snake.
That's what you tell your grandkids, right? That was my nickname.
Yeah, exactly. And then they ask you, well, what does that mean? And you got to explain.
Well, Kurtz was a walk-on, but he's a tremendous rebounder for this team. And I'm sure that's why Billy Donovan got him in the game, help out on the boards.
Well, the senior Gilchrist, a little baseline turnaround. He's from London. This is a very wide open roster for Florida State. Only 2 Florida players on Leonard Hamilton's roster. All over the country. Shot clock down to 10. Wilbekin trying to set himself up. Pounds inside, dumps low. Ball is loose. They need something quick. They get it to Frazier. It's no good. And the Seminoles are causing problems defensively in the paint.
Well, you talk about hustling and getting on the glass, and Billy Donovan is totally upset. His team's work all for naught. But you got to give Boris Bojanovsky an awful lot of credit. He stuck with it, held his ground. A lot of contact created there. Dorian Finney-Smith thought that he got fouled, but the insult to injury was the block by Bojanovsky, and the ball goes to Florida State.
Pat Adams, the official, giving Billy Donovan a warning as Donovan went pretty hard at him.
Well, a coach always wants his team's hard work to be rewarded, and he saw the hustle, Finney-Smith particularly on the glass, and thought that his guy should be on the line.
And wait a minute, there it is. A technical foul as Billy Donovan continued to go after Pat Adams, the official, from across the court.
Technical foul has now been recorded at the line of Florida State, Ian Miller.
And he's still staring him down. Here's the free throw from Miller. And the Seminoles lead 10-7. So 2 free throws for Florida State. Well, you notice, Len, when you call a technical foul, you come to the other side of the court if you're the official. You don't want to stand next to Billy Donovan for any more. That diffuses the situation.
Yeah, slightly, but the daggers are being passed back and forth from across the court.
6-0 run for Florida State. And Bojanowski has it stolen.
But I think that outburst by Billy Donovan was not only emotional, but it certainly was tactical. Because I believe now he expects his team to get the benefit of the doubt as far as contact when they go to the offensive glass as well.
Step back jumper, Wilbekin in and out. Battle on the boards, and the Gators come up with it twice, and a whistle blows, a foul called. And there's Jacob Kurtz on cue, crashing the boards.
Well, that's what we said, that he's on the floor to provide toughness and rebounding. And he's right there. He doesn't have to get off the ground that high. Look at the block out. He clears the way, gets his hands on it, and ultimately gets fouled. The most important aspect of blocking out in close quarters like that is make sure you get a body on someone, and if you can, ride them out without being so obvious, so you create room for yourself. Kurtz did just that.
This Florida team shoots free throws over 70% as well. We talked about how often these two teams have gotten to the free throw line in their first 6 games. It can be such a major advantage on most nights. Kurtz has 1 of 2.
The Florida State +5 in free throw makes, and Florida +8 in free throw makes. So those extra points over opponents certainly help in trying to win a ball game.
Slicing inside, but foiled in the attempt. Here comes Kurtz. Wheels it down low, and a 2-hand slam from Casey Prather.
Outstanding leaper. He took that into a crowd and just elevated.
Florida had missed 10 straight field goals before that last dunk. Seminoles with an early 2-point lead, 12-10. Back after this as Prather brought the house down.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And Audi, truth in engineering.
Florida State Seminoles and the Gators tomorrow at noon on ESPN. As Florida State ties the state unbeaten, second in the BCS standings. The classic rivalry continues. In the swamp, Ohio State unbeaten, they're third. Auburn and Alabama meet tomorrow at 3:30. Ohio State has Michigan. So great rivalry weekend across the country. Billy Donovan
looked a little bit like that when he was getting the T called. Now a little reconciliation here. Seems to be fine. But I tell you what, since that technical was called, Florida's really taken charge of the offensive glass. Now they have 9 offensive rebounds. The problem is they aren't converting those offensive rebounds into points, as they only have 1 second chance point.
Yeah, they're 4 of 18 from the field. Florida State's only 3 of 10, yet they lead in the ball game. And a whistle there. Let's see what it is. It'll be a block.
Well, Mike, the lead for Florida State is simply attributable to what we talked about at the beginning of the telecast. They're 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Florida just 1 of 2.
And number 4, Patrick Young.
Patrick Young returns for Florida. Here in Gainesville, Florida State 12, Florida 10. SEC against the ACC in-state rivalry. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore from Stephen C. O'Connell Center, which is sold out tonight. Close to 12,000, depending on the standing room. Both teams at 5-1. Florida State actually 2 points away from being undefeated. They had Michigan beaten up 16.
Nice
move that time. Michael Ojo.
Yeah, we talked about his improvement right there. Much more confident, fundamentally sound. Turned his shoulder to locate the defense before he made his move.
And that pass picked off, and on the run, crushing one down right-handed. Aaron Thomas, as Eli Carter's cross-court pass was intercepted.
And that's what Billy Donovan told us at practice today, that he was afraid of them shooting the gap, Florida State, and being able to get down the floor quickly, because that's been a huge part of their offense this season. And Florida State scoring a lot of points, 81 per game to be exact.
Carter slices inside. He gets knocked down.
Here are big reasons why. Look at Ojo. Excellent position. Locates his man, gets head and shoulders behind him. An easy shot in there. Just a terrific job. Aaron Thomas averaging about 3.3 steals per game. And you have to keep an eye wherever he is and make sure your passes are pinpoint.
So Eli Carter goes to line to shoot 2. He's a junior from Patterson, New Jersey, transferred from Rutgers. Did not have to sit out, as most transfers do, because of the turmoil surrounding the Rutgers basketball program. Carter, first 2 years, a Jersey kid that played very well for the Scarlet Knights, now here at Florida.
Yeah, Eli Carter's not fully 100%. Remember, he had a broken leg, a broken bone in his leg that never really healed properly, and it's kind of forced his foot in a pronation setting that's made it difficult for him to move. Looks pretty good right now.
Knowles taking time off the clock, looking for a good shot. Inside, the left-hander, no good, didn't catch iron. And Florida comes up with it, and a foul call. Florida's been a dominating team at home. Won 19 straight, as we mentioned. 20 straight against non-conference opponents. 3 times prior, they've won 20 in a row at home.
And if they play defense like they did on that last sequence, they can be very comfortable in knowing they've got a really good chance to win another one at home. That was excellent. Forced Florida State in the positions they didn't want to be.
Long 3 off the mark, and the Seminoles come up with it. They lead by 6 under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. Gators back in a zone for the moment. Now back to man. Wojnarowski will try the jumper, and he knocks it down, the big man. 7-3, and a nice touch. He only averages 3.5 points a ball game, and the Noles have their biggest lead of the game.
Well, Boris Wojnarowski seems to save his best for the best. Career high 10 points against Michigan on the 22nd of this month. The tallest player ever in Florida State history.
Wilbekin lays it in, and they count the bucket. Great move by Scotty Wilbekin.
Well, Wilbekin brings a wealth of experience at the point. He was an understudy for a couple years, took over the starting job last year. And again, being suspended for several games early in the season, he came back just in the nick of time. As developing point guard Casey Hill got injured, Florida would have been left without any true point guard.
Just his second game since returning at 12 points, 7 assists against Jacksonville. And a 3-point play cuts the lead to 5. 9 minutes remaining in the first half.
Take a look at the half-court trapping. Gators are trying any number of defenses to try to shake Florida State, out of their comfort zone. This game is a far different type of game than last year in Tallahassee.
Off the rebound, Wilbekin now across the timeline. 8.5 to go here in the first half. Frazier the second back in the ball game. Another miss. Florida shooting ice cold.
A lot of that has to do with the length of Florida State and their foot quickness getting to the spot.
Yeah, Billy Donovan was talking about that this afternoon. They kind of fool you. You think you have a good look at something, and before you know it, the defense closes out. It makes it a difficult shot.
Yeah, it's hard for the shooter to gauge how long these guys are, and they close nicely. Take a look at the shooting percentages, even the free throws. Now, that has nothing to do with the length.
Yeah, the free throw is what it's supposed to be, a free throw, a charity stripe. Jaquez Smith in the ball game for Florida State. Where's number 5? Traveling violation. Smith is a freshman from Haddock, Georgia. A turnover by Ian Miller.
Smith is another one of those long, lean bigs that Florida State loves to attract. In high school, he had 9 triple-doubles in 29 games. That's triple-doubles with a block. Points, rebounds, and blocks.
Now that's hard to do. Devin Booker checks back in for Florida State. 6'3", 185 from Anchorage. And hanging in the air and converting was Casey Prather. Timeout on the floor. Gators within 3 after this. The jump stop, the hang time, and the deuce. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Tonight from Gainesville, Florida. Florida Gators and their in-state rivals, the Florida State Seminoles. 18-15 lead for the Noles. Let's go inside the play.
Well, throughout the game, we've been lauding the defense and the closing ability of the front line of Florida State. And you take a look right here, that's the defender, Jaquez Smith. And as Prather goes to the middle, Smith comes from the side and reaches. Instead of closing and taking the spot and just extending the arms, forcing Prather to shoot over him, he reaches in, forces contact, and Prather's got 2 free ones on the line. That's not the way Leonard Hamilton teaches it. But so far, he's got to be pretty happy with the defense holding Florida just 15 points thus far.
Yeah, the opposition shooting just 39% on the season. Talked to Leonard before the game. Lenny said, you know, we stepped out of bounds 3 times in that loss to Michigan. You don't step out of bounds 3 times in a month of games. He said, that's what youth will get you, a little heartache.
We had a chance to look at those numbers, and that field goal percentage defense is the best since 2010 and 2011 when they led the nation in field goal percentage defense.
And Florida State had to call a timeout there. They were in trouble. We'll take it. Florida State by 2, 7:39 to go in the first from Gainesville. Final is set at the Old Spice Classic, HP Fieldhouse in Orlando. Oklahoma State and Memphis. Memphis had to come from behind, Len, in that win against LSU late in the second half to get there.
Well, LSU is a team of voracious rebounders, but Memphis held on, and sometimes when you wish for a matchup, you get it. And Marcus Smart and his boys are ready to take on the Memphis Tigers.
Seminoles now 6 of 19, both teams shooting poorly. Florida under 30%, Seminoles at 32%. Nice feed to Kurtz, and the layup. Will you get made a nice move to set his teammate up. 8-0 run.
Well, that was tremendous court vision by Uget. You know, passing like that in such close quarters, really difficult. And a nice quick release by Kurtz as well.
Booker having all kinds of trouble in the backcourt, loses it. And a foul is called as Dorian Finney-Smith went up to the rim and tried to jam it.
Take a look at you get right there. He sees Kurtz running baseline, and Kurtz with a quick release. Gets it, and here in the trap. Florida State had a lot of trouble with VCU's trap. But as I said, they turned it over 25 times, yet were able to prevail. So this is not something new for Florida State. You don't expect to see them panic. But by the same token, for the Gators, you want to start a fire, you need a spark.
Dorian Finney-Smith on the line, where he's been 75%, 18 of 24. Ian Miller returns at the Puerto Rico tip-off. Averaged 15.5 a ball game. And second, no good, but Kurtz got the rebound again. He tipped it to himself. So Florida has the lead back on a 9-0 run and the ball. 6.5 to go in the first.
Kurtz a little too quick. He saw a move, but didn't have the handle before he tried to make that move. Good ball movement by Florida right now.
Plenty of time to shoot. Wilbekin scoops it up, and no, it went in and out. And a battle on the boards. Held ball will go to Florida State.
Wilbekin, tough luck. Finger roll didn't work, and you get who is, you know, the hustle guy, the high energy guy for this team. He always sticks his nose into the fray. Almost came up with a clean rebound.
Boris Bojanovsky returns. Jaquez Smith back to the bench for Florida State. Again, full court pressure by the Gators. Move nicely done inside, but unable to convert. With Robert Gilchrist, he was right at the rim. Tried to lay it in instead of dunk it.
See, those are the kind you see in your dreams over and over and over again. And the nightmare is they never go in.
They don't go in. Seminoles have gone cold. Now 6 of 20 on the ball game. Traffic, and that one won't go. Wilbekin has it. Oh, it didn't travel with it. Kurtz now missed the bank, and here come the Noles.
Here come the Noles, but they're out of control. You got to know better, pushing the ball up the floor. You know, Aaron Thomas, a sophomore, not used to leading the break. You know, threw the ball in a very difficult position for Gilchrist to come up with it. But I tell you what, you know, you got to give both teams credit. Florida State, you know, they're getting this done with everybody pitching in on offense. Ian Miller, their leading scorer, only has 2 points, and that's 2 free throws. But yet you've got 3 guys with 4. 4 guys with 2, or 2 guys with 2 points. And that's what's kept them close here.
Deep in the corner for 3. It's off the back rim by Dorian Finney-Smith. They've had only 1 3-pointer in the ballgame, that from Florida.
The flip side offensively for Florida is it's all about Casey Prather and Scotty Wilbekin.
Florida State has not scored in almost 5 minutes, and they lose on the possession arrow here.
Substitution for Florida, number 30, Jacob Kurtz.
You know, 2 guys that you expect to do some damage here for Florida. Patrick Young, 0 for 1, 0 points. Dorian Finney-Smith, transfer from Virginia Tech, a guy who was on the all-freshman team last year in the ACC, who has done a terrific job scoring up until now. Is 0 for 5 from the field.
Wilbekin for 3 off the back rim, rebounded by Bojanovsky.
Bojanovsky did a nice job holding off the bigger, stronger Patrick Young. to get that rebound.
Florida State's out rebounded the Gators 19-15. Feed it to Bojanovsky and back outside.
Excellent ball movement. Inside out. Contract the defense. Kick it back outside for open jump shots.
Robert Gilchrist. Kurtz on the run. And that'll be goaltending. Kurtz will be credited with the bucket. So Florida regains the lead 21-20. Timeout on the floor. An emotional Billy Donovan trying to fire his team up early against their in-state rivals, the Seminoles of Florida State. Get great offense off the bench.
We're going to head in our college basketball studios. Coming up at the half, it's the marquee matchup of Feast Week. Complete coverage from Duke and Arizona. Highlights and analysis from Coach Dockich is on the way. That's on the Land Rover halftime report. Marcus Smart, worst game of the season so far. Would the Pokes pay the price against Butler today? We'll tell you in just a few. Mike, back to you.
Welcome back to Gainesville. The journey to the tourney continues on ESPN Tuesday. 6th-ranked Duke takes on 22nd-ranked Michigan. Duke playing in the Garden tonight, leading Arizona in the preseason NIT final, 43-39. Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, part of the journey to the tourney. Tuesday, 9:15 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. Billy Donovan and Florida, 5-1. Their only loss to Wisconsin. On the road, held to 53 points in that game. And here having trouble scoring as well as they trail or lead by one, 21-20.
They continue to apply full court pressure, looking to create more turnovers. As we mentioned before, Florida State very susceptible to pressure as they turn the ball over far too often.
6 turnovers by Florida State. Bojanovsky with a putback slam.
Yeah, he had an open path to the basket. No one put a body on him, and at his size, 7'3", he didn't have to do a whole lot to corral that ball and knock it down. Now, I'm sure Billy Donovan in the huddle talked to his guys about continuing to attack the paint. They began the game 3 of 12 inside, and now since then they've 4 of 6. And they've been getting high percentage shots just like that. Make it 5 of 7.
And a strong move by Dorian Finney-Smith. He hung in the air. There was contact, and he still got it to go. Gators 23-22. Finney-Smith's first bucket of the game. He was 0 for 6 prior to that. Bojanovsky again, this time left-handed, and a nice feed inside by Ian Miller.
And I'm trying to figure out now, that's twice Bojanovsky has gone unguarded, and I mean unguarded. No one around him until it's too late.
6th lead change of the game.
The young man is 7 feet 3 inches tall. And I don't care what you think of his skills. He's capable of putting the ball in the basket, and at that size, you can't lose him.
That's right. How do you lose a 7-footer? The 3, and it's good. Big bucket by Will Uget. That doesn't happen very often. Had knee surgery last year, coming back strong, and the Gators regain the lead. The second 3-pointer by Florida tonight.
We're looking to take the ball out of Ian Miller's hands. Bojanovsky, whoa.
And he's fouled, so the big man put it on the floor.
That's called confidence. And that C is getting capitalized. You take a look right here, the jump shot. Bojanovsky in the picture by himself. Again, 7'3", nobody puts a body on him. And once again, you get much too late to get to Bojanovsky. This young man is going to have impact on this game. You certainly cannot leave him alone.
Good free throw shooter, 83% as the first.
One more and he ties his career high. The one that was set against Michigan on the 22nd.
You talked about the free throw shooting before we began tonight. And Florida State now 8 of 8, while Florida's 4 of 8.
And certainly making your free throws when you get the opportunity is extraordinarily important. And you take a look at the shooting percentages. We're not for the free throws. I'm not sure Florida State would be in range right now.
Michael Frazier the second in a triple, and the Gators by 3, so they've hit back-to-back threes. And 1:10 to go in the half.
Now, the one thing, well, I was just going to mention, they haven't been attacking. They haven't been attacking the pressure, but all of a sudden now, with Bojanowski with his confidence and the Gators persisting in pressure, Florida State now turns the table and start going after it.
Yeah, Bojanowski's got 12 points. He averages 3.5. Nice feed down low to Young, and then Bojanowski rejects him. Young went back and got it. Patrick Young throws down the offensive rebound.
The big man would not be denied.
Final 20 seconds. Florida with a 3-point lead. Crowd on their feet. From the Gators. Oh, they missed it at the buzzer. Bojanowski did a nice job of not fouling. And Florida goes to the locker room with a 3-point lead, despite the offensive outburst from Boris Bojanowski of the Seminoles.
Well, you got to give the big fella an awful lot of credit. Take a look right there, running on the break, ball above the rim, and he's playing above the rim. And then on that steal, you got to give him an awful lot of credit. He never gave up, and that tells you don't give up on those layups.
It's halftime here. Florida 31, Florida State 28. Let's send it to Zubin Mahenti and Dan Dockich in the studio for the Land Rover halftime report.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Welcome back to Kingsville, where Florida and Florida State meet tomorrow in football, but tonight it's round ball at the O'Connell Center, and the Gators 15th in the country have a 3-point lead on the strength of a couple of late threes. Mike Crispino, Len Elmore, but points were tough to come by. Shots weren't going in. It seemed like there was a lid on it for a while.
I'll tell you what, though, a lot of that had to do with the physical play of both teams. This might be a preview of tomorrow's game. But when you take a look at these two teams, you recognize that, you know, there is a rivalry here. Tough play inside. Solid defense. Will you get puts his body on the line. And then, obviously, going to the basket, dishing off the strength of Patrick Young to the 4. But for Florida State, a hero is emerging. Boris Bojanowski making his 7-3 frame, making that presence felt. He's been solid from the floor, 5 of 5 field goals. And, you know, without Bojanowski, Florida State be in an awful lot of trouble.
Yeah, Florida State did not make a 3. They made every one of their free throws, though, 8 of 8. The offensive rebound's a big factor for the Gators. Didn't turn it into very much, though, second chance points.
Yeah, if they lose this game, it'll be a lost opportunity because they've had the opportunity to shoot the free throws well. They've had 12 offensive rebounds, but just converted 3 points there.
Well, Bojanowski has a career high 12 points. He's only a sophomore, 7-3. He's done it in the first half. Now, does Billy Donovan make a serious adjustment to try to put the clamps on him here in the second half?
Well, I'm not sure what you can do. The type of points that he scored all came within the team concept, except 2 of them where his guys, Billy Donovan's guys, just lost track of Bojanowski. If you can maintain your focus and know that he's on the floor and not lose him, that'll pretty much put the clamps on him.
Bojanowski's made 10 of his last 13 field goal attempts in his last couple of games, last 3 games. The pull-up jumper is good that time by Devin Bookert. And Bookert has his first 2 points of the ball game, 31-30 Florida.
And Leonard Hamilton has to pat his guys on the back. Florida comes out in zone, and his guys don't panic. They move the ball briskly and find an open jump shooter.
Frazier's line drive, 3-pointer, no good, but in the paint. Hard work that time by the Gators on the offensive glass. Casey Prather.
Well, that's been the case throughout this evening. Florida's gone and gotten it off the offensive glass, no question about it. Nice close there by White. But look at Prather flying in, getting the offensive rebound, and drawing the foul. The problem hasn't been offensive rebounding. The problem is converting them into points.
So Prather at the line. Florida 4 of 8 in the first half, now 5 of 9. Seminoles have trailed at halftime just one other time this year by 1 to Northeastern. They rallied to win 62-60, a Northeastern team that had beaten Georgetown earlier in the season. Georgetown lost again today, though. So John Thompson's Hoyas off to a sluggish start.
See the run and jump by Uget. Try to disguise it, but Booker very much aware of what this pressure brings. Calmly got rid of it and came back and got it.
Bad pass that time by the big man. Ball taken away.
That wasn't instinctive. Wojnarowski had an open man. You got to give it to him quickly.
Uget off the cut, and that's an offensive foul.
Wow, that was tremendous defense right there. Look at Young. Wojnarowski right there in front of the restricted area. Had his position before Uget started to rise. That was picture perfect.
Wojnarowski just playing great tonight. Only a sophomore. Peters on the run. The shot missed on the defensive boards that time.
But Gilchrist had a good idea. He just lost the ball and back at you. Florida didn't hesitate one bit on that break.
Prather now, team high 9 points. And a 5-point Florida lead. It's been closely played all night long. Triple is good from Carl White. He's been quiet tonight, the senior.
But see, those are the kinds of shots you have to instill confidence in your team in order to get them to take them. Sure, they broke the pressure and you want them to attack. They didn't have an advantage, but they've been hitting the boards pretty well. It was a wide open 3, so why not?
That's Florida State's first 3-pointer of the night, gets them within 2.
Take a look right here. Nice job breaking the pressure. Wide open shot. You got 2 guys that can help on the glass. You can feel confident about yourself. But that's attacking as well.
White over the 1,000-point mark with that 3-pointer. Saw Leonard Hamilton there, his 12th year for Florida State, and count that basket.
If I'm Wojnarowski, I'm not feeling bad about that. I just sent a message. You know, maybe you got, and it was on the way down. Good call by the official. You got called for goaltending, fine. But I tell you what, Patrick Young's going to be looking around.
No question about it. Wojnarowski on the outside now, handling the ball. Work it up top. They get it to Bojo. Trying to set himself up. Goes to the left-hand hook, and he knocks that down. Ambidextrous.
He's a player.
He's got 14. He extends his career high. Knowles within 2. Oh, Wilbekin that time traveled with it after there was some contact.
Boris Wojnarowski again playing with extraordinary confidence, locates the defense, and then once again gets head and shoulders past Patrick Young. He's got to realize he's got an extreme height advantage over Young. Young can do nothing with him as long as he extends and focuses on the rim.
He's got 6 inches on Patrick Young, and there aren't many players that can say that. Young is 6'9".
Nice job locating the defense, finding the open man.
They pull a 2-pointer off the mark. Rebounded by the Knowles, and Young goes up, and it's a jump ball.
On the opening possession, Florida Basketball.
You can get close to all the action wherever you are with the new SportsCenter app. Blazing fast scores, the hottest news and highlights, analysis, and access to your favorite SportsCenter talent 24/7 via Twitter. You can download the new SportsCenter app by calling *SC from your home. Wojnarowski will go to the bench for a moment here in the opening minutes of the second half.
Yeah, the way he's been playing, I'm sure Leonard Hamilton said, don't get comfortable.
Yeah, he's 7'3", as you mentioned. He's 240. Does he have the kind of frame that can fill out, do you think?
No question about it, but the way he plays his game, you don't want him to get too thick. Then you cut down on the quickness, cut down on the flexibility he's shown. It might even hurt his up.
Prather's shot is off the mark, but a foul is called. Michael Ojo was called for the foul. That's his third.
At the line, Casey Prather.
But there are some fouls you just have to deliver. And if you're Michael Ojo, Prather going to the basket, you know, unimpeded, you've got to stand there and you've got to make a play. You got to let them know you don't come in here into my territory without paying a price, at least for the time being.
Prather coming off his career best of 28 points against Jacksonville. Jacob Kurtz returns, a junior. It's interesting, this Florida program under Billy Donovan, they have so many program-type players that stick around for 3 and 4 years. Do you credit that to Donovan's recruiting, or what is that? In the day and age we're in.
Well, I would imagine a lot of it has to do not only with recruiting, but with philosophy. Certainly he's recruited NBA-type players, and, you know, you can look back at the 2006-2007 team and see a number of those guys who could have gone after the first championship but stuck around. And that was more philosophy than anything else. And, you know, Billy is he's a tremendous motivator. And he cares about these guys. You talk about the suspensions. You know, that's not because you're being vindictive. It's because you're trying to help these guys grow.
Shot clock winding down. 6 to shoot. That's an air ball. And it's rebounded by the Gators. 3-point lead. And a bad pass. Here come the Seminoles. They have numbers and a pull-up three. No good. Well, let's see. 2 bodies went down.
I think the foul's against Patrick Young, saying that he pulled his counterpart down.
Well, timeout on the floor, and Young getting the explanation from Pat Adams.
Fans, if you make some noise, the cheerleaders.
There's another look off the missed 3 on the fast break. We'll be back after this timeout. Florida leads.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive?
You're watching the SEC on ESPN tonight from Gainesville, Florida, where Florida's Gators have a 3-point lead, 38-35, a sold-out house at O'Connell Center. Florida State Seminoles coming in, identical record of 5-1. Their one loss in overtime to Michigan, and Billy Donovan's Gators beaten by Wisconsin in a close, low-scoring game. Both these teams, Len Elmore, score a lot of points, but not tonight.
It's been a defensive struggle tonight, and I tell you what, the physical play has had an impact on both offenses.
Only 2 men in double figures. Boris Wojnarowski with 14 for Florida State. Casey Prather with 12 for Florida. And let's see what that foul's on. That's on Ojo.
Florida fouls on number 30, taking his second.
No, it's against Florida.
You took Ojo right there, gets a piece of that, and you see Carl White saying, way to go, my man. Getting his hand on that. You know, a lot of guys won't challenge dunks.
Ojo down low, and he's fouled. He'll go to the line. His second trip there. He made both free throws the first time. Only a 40% free throw shooter.
But once again, on the down screen, Justin Bojanowski's in the lane as well. Look at this. These guys are wide open, and it's almost too late for Finney Smith. It is too late for him to come over. Certainly fouls him because they know he's had a lot of difficulty on the free throw line. But I don't care. You can't leave guys that size, that open, point-blank range.
Now, you're 7-1. You're Ojo. You get the ball 2 or 3 feet from the rim. You've got to go up and try to jam that, no?
Yeah, but I think Finney Smith really grabbed him across the arm, didn't allow him to get it up there. And he did so with the idea that he'll make him earn it from the free throw line.
And so far, that gamble has worked well. 1 of 2 for Ojo, and we're even again at 38. The 5th tie of the ball game. Mike Crispino, Len Elmore here in Gainesville. Prather gives up the 3 attempt, pumps it down low. And Florida State's defense really turned over Patrick Young.
Now, Florida's got to be smart about running their offense and starting their offense. Michael Ojo is playing on top of Patrick Young when he's at the free throw line, and there's nobody beneath them to protect the rim. A little lob to Young in the paint will get rid of all of that.
Gators with 15 seconds to shoot. Scotty Wilbekin into the paint. Floater up. No. Tipped in. Ball was on the rim, very close to being goaltended.
Finney Smith, quick hands, good timing.
Ian Miller playing the point guard for the moment, and a turnover. Here come the Gators. Have some numbers. Florida reset. 6 minutes gone by here in the second half, and Wilbekin fouled on the drive inside.
Well, this is what Florida needs. Not merely to get to the rim on the offensive rebound, but to convert.
Dorian Finney-Smith now has 5 points. That's the 4th team foul on Florida State. The 3rd, rather, on Florida State. 4 on Florida.
And all in all, it really hasn't deluged fouls here. Officials are calling what they see.
Well, 22 free throws in the ball game, 7 of 12 for Florida, 9 of 10 for Florida State. That one rims in and out from Yeget.
And that was Ojo's presence. Will Yeget thought he could fake him out. Weird, that was contact right there.
And the whistle is a Carl White that knocked off the line of the basket. Foul by the Gators. 13:27 remaining in this one. Both teams at 5-1. Florida a 2-point lead, 40-38 from O'Connell Center in Gainesville, Florida. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore. Great in-state rivalry that's been dominated of late by Florida. They've won 7 of the last 8. They've won 4 in a row, and they're trying to protect a 19-game home court winning streak coming in tonight.
Casey Prather, the only double-figure scorer for Florida, has 3 fouls as well. That could bode ominous for the Gators if he has to leave the floor, because who else is going to put it in the basket?
Line drive. It wasn't a 3. I'm not sure. It could have been a pass that time from Ian Miller, and that's just a turnover. That's an empty possession.
Well, if you're Ian Miller, you got to think of a good excuse what that was.
That's 10 turnovers by Florida State.
Did he get hit on the hand, on the wrist? Did it slip out of his hand?
On the season, 115 turnovers in the 7 games by Florida State. That's a number Leonard Hamilton would like to change. Let's see.
Florida State foul.
Should be side out.
His third.
Here's Leonard Hamilton is saying to himself, against ranked opponents, we got to do better. They've lost 6 of their last 7.
Carl White now, 3 fouls. He's one of the top scorers. He is the leading scorer for this team. He's only got 5 tonight.
Willigan goes to the left hand, comes up short. And Ojo has the rebound.
White has also only taken 2 shots from the field.
Ojo in the little box. Goes to the little jump hook, and Florida State has tied it again at 40.
And look at, you've seen 2 guys now, 2 big guys, both for Florida State, who are brimming with confidence. And their teammates also believe in them. That's why they're getting the ball thrown down to them. In one-on-one situations, and the expectation is they're going to make moves. And both Wojnarowski as well as Ojo have come through.
Frazier, mid-range jumper, the sophomore from Tampa. He's got 6. And the Gators back up by 2. Again, Ojo going to face up. Got to work on Young. They go down low. And the Gators collapse defensively that time. They have it on the run.
Good numbers, though, for Florida State. Black shirts getting back, taking away the fast break situation, so Wilbekin kicks it back outside.
There have been only 4 fast break points in the game, 2 by each team. Timeout on the floor, 11:28 remaining. And Florida by 2 on Feast Week here in Gainesville. Gators with the lead. Feast Week continues around the country. Fullerton, California, the DirecTV Wooden Legacy Marquette in the final there on Sunday, and they await the winner of San Diego State and Creighton, who Len Elmore have a very fine player in their stable.
Oh, Doug McDermott, one of the most fundamentally sound and explosive players in the nation. Rightly so. He should be top 50 candidate. I expect him to be a finalist in this category. There's nothing that he doesn't do well.
What's impressive is his shooting percentage. 55%, 50% from 3-point range.
Well, it helps that his teammates also play with him. He cuts to the basket, makes moves. He can post you. He can put it on the floor and pull up dribble.
Anybody that averages 27.5 points a ball game is pretty much an offensive force. Oh, what a rejection that time by Florida State of Carl White.
White read that all the way.
We got 5 black jerseys outside the 3-point arc right now. Now they're getting a little more balanced position.
And they've only hit 1 out of 7.
White in traffic, can't get it to go, and he's called for a foul.
But it's all about the big men for Florida State right now, keeping them in the game. 1 on offense, and then nice block right there of Carl White with the block underneath. And that's helping the Seminoles.
Florida State enjoying a banner year in football, led by their quarterback, Jameis Winston. He is an accurate thrower. And they play Florida at noon tomorrow, right across the street in the Swamp. 3,100 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. He's a multi-talented guy. I mean, he plays baseball, and he's very good at that, too. I think he might be able to play basketball as well. Maybe not on this team, but he's got a lot of talent.
Well, without question. I mean, look, he's a freshman. He's an athletic prodigy. And, the cloud hanging over this administration, over their heads. I talked to athletic director Stan Wilcox at halftime. They just want to get everything done so they can go about the business of educating these kids and performing on the field.
Florida goes into a weave here. They have a 2-point lead. Taking some time off the clock. And they get a long 3. It's off the front rim. Rebounded by the Noles. Wojnarowski back in the ball game. He sat down for a good 6 minutes. He's their leading scorer with 14, the big 7'3" center. And on the reverse, nice move by Ian Miller.
That's Ian Miller's first field goal. He's the leading scorer for this team.
Well, Florida comes back with an answer. Kurtz will get a chance for a three-point play.
Down the stretch, Florida State knows they're going to need Ian Miller to start to get on track, and so does he. But on the other end, boy, you talk about the guy who's Johnny on the spot, Jacob Kurtz. Again, we talked about him being a walk-on, averaging about 3 points, 4 rebounds a game. But he is a rebounder, he is a scrapper, he is a hustler, and he shows no fear.
He's got 8 points tonight, 3 of 4 from the field, couple of free throws, and the Gators back up by 3. They just can't shake Florida State at all.
Just remember, Jacob Kurtz, as a freshman, came to this university as a walk-on team manager. Now Billy Donovan discovered him, must have watched some scrimmage with the guys when nobody was looking. But he's an integral part of this team now.
And the traveling violation on the Seminoles. The big man, Michael Ojo, stepped on the baseline as well. It traveled first.
Ojo's got to be careful, trying not to do more than he's capable of doing. And turn a good possession into a turnover.
Florida shooting 36% in the game, yet leads by 3. You get through up an air ball, but it's rebounded by a teammate. Here comes Wilbekin. Feeds to Yeget. He's fouled, and the basket drops. So the Gators, with some inside power, have opened up a 5-point lead.
First of all, second chance opportunities, interior passing. You know, Yeget obviously draws the contact. Nice dish by Wilbekin. Ojo there much too late.
That's the 4th and 1 of the night. So the Gators. And they convert that. The lead is 6. Biggest lead of the ball game for the Gators. And a timeout call by the Seminoles. This crowd getting into it. Close to 12,000 standing room. A huge weekend in Gainesville.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you what. You look at this crowd. Look at time and score. That was an excellent timeout by Leonard Hamilton. This is the breaking point right now. You know, his team can easily, you know, just fall in the hole and never be seen again. Call a timeout, re-energize, get your team to recommit to keep them from allowing Florida to run away.
Toughest thing to do now for Florida State is get a good shot, get a percentage shot, try to score to stop the momentum.
Yeah, the tough thing about it is that their best scorers, you know, guys like Ian Miller, you know, or, you know, Devin Booker, they're not really putting the ball in the basket with any regularity right now in this game.
Yeah, 6 points between them.
They've relied on guys like Wojnarowski, Ojo.
Yeah, they got 21 points out of their center position. I don't think they expected that by any means.
And you're not sure if you can ride that the rest of this game. The double team right there getting out of Booker's hands.
Well, they go alley-oop, the catch made, the shot missed. Oh, and a held ball. Going down hard was Will Yeget. He had his hands on it.
I'll tell you what, though, you got to appreciate the hustle. Yes, it's getting physical, but the physical aspect of this game is not about malice. It's about desire.
Now, you always talk about locating where you are on the court. That was another example the offensive player gets the ball and there's an opening if he goes to reverse. Instead, he goes straight up and gets his shot blocked.
Yeah, sometimes you're in much too much of a hurry. When you have the ball, you are in control.
So the possession arrow to Florida State. 8.5 remaining. And the Gators with their biggest advantage, 48-42. Time running out, long three. Ojo on the boards.
Oh, my goodness.
And Ojo does it again as he power slams the ball, and Florida State has an opportunity to get back within 3.
Scotty Wilbekin lucky his hand didn't get caught. He would have gotten jammed in the basket himself right there. Little ticky-tack foul, but you know, you're taught to foul a guy and make sure he doesn't get it to the rim. Wilbekin had no choice.
Both of these big guys have career highs tonight.
Isn't that something?
Ojo and Bojanovsky. Ojo's got 10, Bojanovsky 14. And when the night began, I don't think you could have gotten Leonard Hamilton to say, I'm getting 24 out of my big men tonight.
They average 3 points each.
Over that back. Outside the 3 miss, Ojo has another rebound. That gives him 6 on the night.
Talked about how Ojo changes this game for Florida State. He can play above the rim. He's an intimidator inside, and now his hands have improved dramatically. So his teammates can penetrate and give him the ball. He's got 4 fouls, but Leonard Hamilton not about to allow him to leave the game, probably because of his strength in rebounding. Bojanovsky, for all the offense he's given his team, he's not the same force underneath, particularly on the defensive end.
Bojanovsky's on the bench while Ojo plays. Under 8 minutes to go. And the 3. And Michael Frazier, the second, has been on target out there tonight. He's in double figures. Florida by 6.
That's his game, folks. Michael Frazier, the second, knocks down threes with regularity.
Got 3 tonight, 3 of 6. Again, the crowd into it. Seminoles need a bucket, and that's an air ball. But off the offensive glass on the weak side, the putback by Monte Brandon. That's his first bucket. Seven minutes remaining. Prather knocks down a jumper in the paint, and he is the team leader with 14 points. 6-point lead.
Florida State in the zone now the last 2 possessions. But that zone is too laconic. They're not out there aggressive. And the Gators are finding shots any place they want.
Ojo again in the paint. That time he's fouled again.
Folks, this is a game right here. Both teams feeling each other out from the perimeter, from the inside. And once again, right in the guts of the defense. I'm glad I'm here. This is a good one.
With Dan Dockett, Zubin Mehenti here in the college basketball studios. NIT tip-off title for the 4th time belongs to the Wildcats. Coach McConnell Gordon.
Little screen on the backside. Aaron Gordon played pretty good. TJ McConnell, I thought, was outstanding. I mean, he's the exact perfect player for Arizona's team. Perfect.
10, 6, and 8. Doug McDermott, 3rd in the nation in scoring, 13 minutes away from facing the Aztecs. You'll see it here on ESPN2. Mike, Len, back to you.
Well, Feast Week going on all around the country. Syracuse won the Maui Invitational, played very well. Marquette is in the final of the Wooden Legacy Championship out in California. They await San Diego State Creighton, and the Arizona Wildcats at Madison Square Garden defeated Duke. Talk about balanced scoring, Len, and I know you love that. 5 guys with 10-plus points.
Yeah, you love it. A team effort, everybody operating on the same game plan. And you take a look at Syracuse winning Maui. Boy, they are establishing themselves as one of the favorites in the ACC.
Yeah, the different looking ACC for that matter, as Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, and eventually next year Louisville. You talk about a monster conference. It's going to get, what, 8 or 9 teams in the tournament pretty much every year.
Okay, I mean, it's really something to behold, though. The rivalry of Carolina and Duke ultimately may take a back seat to maybe a Louisville Duke or a Carolina Syracuse. But you saw the graphic, Michael Ojo and Boris Bojanowski. Bojanowski in the first half, Ojo here in the second half. But both of those bigs have found a way to dominate this game on both ends of the floor.
Ojo misses both there, though. Could have got the lead down to 4. Between the two of them, they hadn't missed a field goal attempt yet.
Well, that's Ojo's liability in a tight game situation. You know, he can't touch the ball on the offensive end. He's almost an instant turnover because he can't make the shots.
Knocking down another 3.
Shots. Whoa.
Michael Frazier, the second, has 4 threes. Florida averages 5 makes a ball game. They're at that number. Florida State, meanwhile, came in averaging 4.5 makes from three-point range. They've got 1 tonight, 1 of 9. Biggest lead of the game, 56-47. Ball deflected out of bounds. It'll be Florida State ball, 17 to shoot.
Now here's a guy you have to play tag with in Frazier. You cannot go behind the screen. Take a look right there. They go behind the screen. You got to over top of the screen, stay in his grill, because otherwise he'll make you cry.
As a sophomore from Tampa, had 20 points in that loss to Wisconsin. Florida only scored 53 in that one, a 59-53 loss. Seminoles get a deuce from Aaron Thomas, and he's got 6.
Florida State, they've got to dig in now, string together some stops. The flip side is Florida got to stay balanced, keep finding the hot hand.
Frazier on the night, 5 of 9 after that miss. Ball kicked. Florida State ball. Uget gets set to check back in for the Gators. So tomorrow this place will be football crazy. Florida State and Florida at 12 noon on ESPN. They've been lining up for the tailgating all day long today, just outside O'Connell Center.
Interesting substitution. Patrick Young comes out. Uget comes in for him, and Uget's guarding Bojanowski instead of Patrick Young. Now, obviously, Young matched up against Ojo. You know, those two bodies right there should be preserved for science later on.
Ojo's got 4 fouls. He goes to the bench. Bojanowski has got 3 fouls. 5:05 left.
And Bojanowski can hit that shot if White would give it to him.
All kinds of contact, but no whistle that time. And the Gators come up with it.
Well, I think it's almost too late right now for the officials to start calling, you know, the physical fouls, the tightness. They would ultimately decide the game should they have done that. You know, it's like tight fist and no call. Huh?
Frazier dumped it inside, and they maintain possession. Uget for 3. That's well short off the front rim. Here come the Noles.
He doesn't have numbers, but Ian Miller. Woo.
Ian Miller, senior from Charleston. He's led his team in points for the first 6 games. Tonight only has 4, though.
What I was going to say was when you're official, you got to call it with a clenched fist, and then you can loosen up towards the end. You can't do it the other way around.
That time a foul is called. There'll be 2 free throws.
Florida State fouls on number 32. Monte Brandon.
Monte Brandon was whistled for the foul. Brandon, that's his first. It's 8 on Florida State. Florida has 7.
A little bit of advocacy by Leonard Hamilton right there.
Now, before the game, we talked about free throw shooting, Len. Both teams have shot them well. 10 of 13 for Florida State. 9 of 14 as Florida's recovered from a slow start.
And they've had to, simply because, again, they've been shooting under 40% from the field throughout this game. When you get those opportunities on the free throw line, you just can't lose them by missing. And both of these excellent free throw shooting teams, right around 70%.
Prather has 16 to lead the way. Michael Frazier, the second, has 14. Again, Florida playing without Casey Hill, their fine freshman, out with an ankle sprain. Devin Walker, their sophomore, a right foot sprain, unable to go.
And Florida State playing without another 7-footer, Kyle Turpin.
No shot.
Florida by 7, under 4 minutes to go here in Gainesville. 58-51. Back with more in a moment.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And Audi, truth in engineering.
Doug McDermott has scored 137 points this season in 147 minutes. That is efficient. He'll take on San Diego State tonight. Blue Jays looking to remain perfect. You can see the tip momentarily over on ESPN News. As soon as we're done with the Noles and Gators, flip back for the finish. Mike, back to you.
Old Spice Classic in Orlando will feature Oklahoma State and Memphis. Tigers had to come from behind late against LSU to get there. Marcus Smart, maybe the best player in the country. Can one man put Oklahoma State right to the top of the rankings? Who knows? And on the line, the first free throw by Aaron Thomas is good. So 11 of 14 from the line for the Seminoles tonight. Still within hailing distance, down 6. Thomas has both. Florida State will put some three-quarter pressure on.
Yeah, they're matching up man and, looking to try to trap or maybe turn it.
Oh, an alley-oop, and it's thrown down hard by Casey Prather. What a night he's had.
Trap that.
You can't trap 15 feet above the basket. Above the floor, rather.
Take a look right there. Just the back screen, no communication. Wojnarowski should have communicated off the back screen following the ball, but he gets there too late to help.
Prather with 18 on 6 of 9 shooting.
You see why he shoots such a high percentage.
He's almost 65%, third best in the SEC. In his last game, 28 against Jacksonville. So the Seminoles, with the clock stopped, 3.5 to go, get the first one from Okaro White. White an 82% free throw shooter. So he's got both. 5-point deficit. 3.5 remaining. Florida's won 4 straight over Florida State. 7 of 8.
A double high post that allows Patrick Young to float down into the paint, try to exploit Wojnarowski. Here he comes on the high screen and roll.
Florida taking time off. They get it to Frazier, and again, Frazier's on the mark.
Aaron Thomas cannot gamble.
Frazier at 17 now. And the Gators, they can't come up with it. And a foul called.
Well, on the other end, there's just a penetration twice now in the circle cut. Take a look. Here comes Frazier on your screen right here. And Aaron Thomas, you're just too far away from him. It's times like these where you want to not only play tags, you know, you almost want to kind of stick your hand in the top jersey and hold on to him. You can't give him that kind of daylight.
And Frazier, who had 20 against Wisconsin in the loss, that was his first 20-point game for the sophomores. Got 18 tonight. Or 17, rather. He's made 5 threes. The Gators have only made 6 as a team. Under 3 minutes remaining. So 15 of 18 by the Seminoles on the free throw line tonight. Shooting 40%. Both teams at 40%. It's been the 6 threes by Florida that have been the difference.
Take a look at the 1-4 setup, and then Young comes up to set the high screen, trying to loosen Wilbekin and then post up. But he couldn't get there. He's going to try it again. Now watch him roll to the basket, trying to get some help.
And he gets Bojanovski off his feet.
Now, I would say I'd like to see that again. If Bojanovski didn't leave his feet, Wilbekin broke that plane, and that should be an offensive foul. Because as long as Bojanovski doesn't move towards, he can move sideways, he can move backwards. All right, he did move towards him. A good call by the official.
It was a good ball fake, head and shoulder fake by Wilbekin.
But again, if the defender is moving sideways, laterally, or moving backwards, and that contact is initiated by the shooter, that should be an offensive foul. But the referee's better eyesight than I have, from here at least.
Yeah, that was a good rule change in some ways, though, because it's pretty obvious when there's a foul on a play like that. So the game, still a 6-point game with 2:13 remaining. Let's check in on what's going on with Creighton as we go back to our studio. Zubin Maheti.
Mike, thank you very much. If you're interested to see Doug McDermott in action, they're underway about a minute and a half in at the Wooden Legacy. We've got a 2-point lead over on Creighton. The game's currently airing on ESPN News. Anywhere you go and watch ESPN. Mike and Len are done with the Noles and the Gators. Flip back to ESPN2 for the finish. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thank you, Zubin. 63-57. Billy Donovan's Gators lead by 6. It has not been easy as Leonard Hamilton and the Seminoles have kept the pressure on, trailed by 3 at the break. And despite shooting 40%, have done a good job on the free throw line, and they're within 6 here with 2:13 remaining.
What they're going to have to do right now is they're going to have to identify and pinpoint places where they need to go with this ball. And then to be able to identify when you get the defense out of position and find the open man. That's a force. Got away with it. Ian Miller, terrific athlete. But I think you got to be sure right here. He knows he can beat Will You Get. But the help was there.
Casey Prather called for the foul. That's his 4th. So Patrick Young, Casey Prather have 4 for Florida. And Bakari White, Michael Ojo, and Boris Bojanovski with 4 for Florida State.
Well, when you look at Ian Miller, he's probably the one guy on this team that can put it on the floor and force a foul. And that's easy 2 points right there.
Noles within 4. 18 of 21 on the line tonight. They outscored Florida by 7 from the free throw line. Oh, well, we're going to turn it over. Here come the Seminoles, 2-on-1.
Nice job. Excellent move by Aaron Thomas, utilizing the left hand on the left side. This is what Leonard Hamilton spoke of about his teams in the past. Had a lot of catch and shoot guys who couldn't slash to the basket, needed plays set up for them. This team has enough athletes where they can create things for themselves. And that was a prime example, Aaron Thomas right there. You don't have to call that play. Wilbekin just poor communication what you get. And look at this right there. Just a nice job. Goes on the other side of the basket, prevents the defender from blocking.
Aaron Thomas, 12 points. Bojanowski, 14. Michael Ojo, 10. For Florida State. Now the Seminoles, following this game, still a ways away from ACC play. This will be a nice win for them. For a top 20 team. Florida has UConn on Monday. Then they have Memphis and Kansas coming up.
And just to better illustrate the point that I was making about the difference between this team and teams of the past, you remember Dokies, Singleton, you have, and Michael Snare. Michael Snare had the ability to slash, but he couldn't make a play. He couldn't pass the ball when he drove the defender. He had to go all the way. The other guys were catch and shoot, and you had to develop plays, screen down, anything that would get them open where they can catch, turn, and shoot the ball. So there was a lot of precise planning, a lot of discipline. But with this team, you know, they improvise very well, and they'll get out on the fast break and go at you. And I think that's taken a lot of pressure off for Leonard Hamilton and his ability to be able to devise plays for his team. Let him play.
Yeah, Florida's had to replace their three top scorers, and Mike Rosario, Eric Murphy, Kenny Boynton. So that's a big task for any coaching staff.
That's 50% of Florida's scoring.
Right, 3 times to the Elite Eight. I mean, that's leadership, that's offense, that's poise, experience, all that.
But they've got 6 players averaging double figures, so I think so far the need has been met.
Well, programs like Florida and a few others around the country can reload in an instant.
Yeah.
Wilbekin has both free throws. 65-61, minute 15 to go. Long 3.
Good,
and
great.
on the mark. Ian Miller. 1-point game with a minute to go.
Nothing complex, just a screen down. Miller used it nicely. Footwork was the key, how he got squared up and able to shoot that so quickly.
Wilbekin gives the Prather, they dump it down and get Bojanowski's foul, rejected him. And the Seminoles couldn't control it.
And watch, just a simple screen down. He comes off the screen, Wilbekin chasing him. And his footwork was excellent. And here, I think you really believe he had that one. And out of nowhere, Bojanowski with his length.
6 blocks tonight by Florida State.
Right on their average.
50 seconds left in the game, 18 to shoot. Michael Frazier, second back in the game. Wilbekin cuts inside, shot blocked. Oh! 2 shots blocked and a whistle blows.
A late whistle.
And if that's on Bojanowski, that's it.
Look at Wilbekin right here trying to end this thing, put it away. He misses. Easy layup. There's one. And that was a late whistle. I am not sure.
It looked like he might have caught him on the forearm, but you're right. The whistle was very late. The play had moved on, and Bojanowski, after a career night, 14 points, has to sit down. He made all 6 of his field goal attempts tonight.
Well, late whistle, whatever. The important thing is to get it right. And it was contact. This young man deserves a round of applause, not only from his fans, but from the opponent's fans, as he, for a period of time, just took this game over. Kept his teammates in the game, You see his mobility, shooting touch, and his growing confidence. You know, this is a watershed mark for Boris Bojanowski, and I'm sure Leonard Hamilton and the rest of the coaching staff hopes that this is a launch pad.
Prather 6 of 7 tonight, but he misses 71.5% from the line. So one possession game with 41.8 left. Now that's something the coach can't control. The free throw line, but no one defending late in the game. Prather, the high scorer for the Gators tonight. Got the second 2-point game. .40 seconds left. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining.
Possession arrow is for the Gators.
See if they'll run it down as far as they can. No, they go inside.
There had to be. Oh, they made the call. Call was made. And now both teams in the double bonus. Miller has a chance to tie the ball game. Again, the slasher, and then, yes, absolutely, gets there too late. And it doesn't matter whether he was passing the ball off. Double bonus gives him 2 shots.
So the foul on Will you get? Ian Miller. 93% at the line, makes the first.
You know, there are some guys who just want to be on the line at this moment. Not everybody.
That's right.
But there are some guys that thrive on this stuff.
Well, he's shooting right into that Florida crowd. Tries to tie the game up and does it.
And Ian Miller is one of them. That time he didn't draw iron. All net.
Miller's got 13. Fourth man in double figures for Florida State. We're tied with 28 seconds left. 28.3 to be exact.
Again, both teams are 2 times out left. I think Billy Donovan wants to see what his team can get done and maybe call timeout. There he goes. Got to set the last one up. Thought he might explore the defense a little bit.
So Billy Donovan, full timeout.
Either.
Well, Florida State and Florida tied at 66 in this in-state rivalry. 22.4 seconds remaining. Shot clock's been turned off. They've made 6 threes. They don't need a 3. They just need a 2. Let's see what happens. It could be Michael Frazier.
Well, Michael Frazier is the guy who can be the recipient of any type of penetration, any type of feeding in the post, whether the high post or the low post. You know, you would figure he's the guy that can kind of put the period on the end of the sentence. But then you got Casey Prather, who you can get the ball above the rim to, and he can do some damage as well. So 2 weapons. You gotta be pleased if you're the Gators, because you know you got 2 ways to attack.
One thing's for sure, Scotty Wilbekin will have the ball in his hands. He's got 8 assists tonight. You got to figure they're going to play off his handle.
They probably will, but Wilbekin has to realize he doesn't have to do everything. And we saw that on the last possession. Tried to drive, use his left hand, fall off balance. Fortunately, his teammates got the rebound and got fouled. But it's all about execution right now. And as I said, you got an inside guy in Prather that can play above the rim with lobs, and you got an outside guy off of penetration you can kick to.
Both teams are in the double bonus. That's Wilbekin. He hasn't shot it very well. 2 of 11 with the 8 assists and the 7 points. Second game back after a 5-game suspension for violation of team rules. So both teams, as we say, in the double bonus. So if you're defending, you got to be careful.
Got to play without fouling. That's what it all comes down to. Defend without fouling. Forget your bad habits of putting a hand on the man.
Florida State, picked preseason 9th in the ACC, has gotten off to a great start. 2 points away from being undefeated. They lost in overtime to Michigan. Trying to force overtime here.
Now this is a lot of time if Florida wants to take the last shot. There's a lot of time to hold on to the ball. I guess Wilbekin's going to sit out there till about 12. That gives him the time to get a shot off and possibly offensive rebound on a miss.
You'll see Jeff Clark, the official, start the 5-second time. And Wobekin throws a jumper up with 3 seconds left. And a whistle at the buzzer with 1.3 left. Dorian Finney-Smith got inside for the rebound and was fouled.
Take a look at this shot right here. Now look, nobody puts the body on number 10. And he was fouled.
So Florida State, we said, has timeouts remaining. 2. Finney-Smith misses. Let's see, does Leonard Hamilton want a timeout here or not?
Take a look at him. He's got it wide open. Everybody goes to a man except for him.
Dorian Finney-Smith, the sophomore, for the lead, and he has it. And now the timeout. Very little time to work. 1.3 seconds left. You know, the rebounding's been dead even tonight. 38-37 Florida, and that last rebound could be the difference.
Take a look, Wobekin with the shot. Number 10 goes, and it's almost a parting of the waters when you see Casey Prather on one side getting blocked out, Patrick Young battling a defender, and no one there for Finney-Smith.
So 1.3, they'll have a chance to throw it length of the court, but probably not dribble it very far.
No, I mean, if you're going to get it in the backcourt, you're going to have a problem. The pass has got to go to the front court. At least give yourself a chance.
Florida State still has a timeout remaining. So does Florida. Both in a double bonus. 1.3 seconds left. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore, the possession arrow to Florida. Both teams double bonus, we mentioned, and a 1-point lead for Florida. Creighton standing by. That's next. Doug McDermott, one of the nation's best players. Now let's see who Leonard Hamilton brings out of his huddle. He's got to go with his best shooters, I got to imagine, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Long-range guys.
He's going to go small. They got to get the ball in bounds, but got to run something that's going to get the ball into the front court to have a decent chance of knocking down a basket. Anything in the backcourt, it's a Hail Mary.
Devin Bookert will inbound. 2 Seminoles set up at half court, and Billy Donovan wants a timeout to maybe reset his defense. Now, coaches and teams work on this stuff. At the end of practice, quite often, they say, all right, 2 seconds left on the clock. What can we get?
Side out of bounds or underneath out of bounds. And you're right, they have specific plays. But what it's going to come down to in something like this is the guy who's passing the ball in has to be a pinpoint passer. You're going to have to screen, bring guys up. But as I said, that pass should be in the front court if you want any type of chance to turn and shoot.
Somewhere in Gainesville, I'm thinking Jameis Winston's watching this game saying, maybe I can get on that baseline and I'm accurate. I'll find somebody.
Run the post pattern.
Yeah. Tomorrow at noon on ESPN, it's Florida State and Florida. Seminoles having a great year. They're number 2 in the BCS standings. So Devin Bookert is the key man. He triggers the pass. Florida State changes up. They go with 4 players in the backcourt here.
Kind of in a box.
Bookert runs the baseline. He can do it. He gets it. Miller fires it at the buzzer. Oh, the back rim. What a shot by Ian Miller. He ended up right in the broadcast booth. And Florida survives.
Well, that was about as close to the front court as you needed to. And with that range, I mean, that was the guy you wanted to get the ball. He curls in front of the box, And right there, after he lets it go, he jumps into your lap, anticipating that the ball was going in. And it didn't miss by much at the back of the rim.
So Florida wins for the 5th straight time in this rivalry. They won 8 of 9 and 20 in a row at home. 4th time in their history they've been able to do that. They go to 6-1. Florida State drops to 5-2 by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, a lot of disappointments in this game, including this, the foul, allowing Finney Smith to get the rebound. But I tell you what, here's an opportunity that they just came up short. I tell you what, the big guys have demonstrated they can play for Florida State.
And that would have counted, but it didn't go. Gators 67, Florida State 66. Coming up next, Feast Week presented by Lowe's continues and the DirecTV Wooden Legacy. San Diego State takes on Creighton. We send you out now to Fullerton, California.